ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपथकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगुणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगुणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिने नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगा शिक्षार्थम एक पुरुष पुराण श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शरीरधारी कृपाम्बुदीर्घस्तमहं प्रपद्ये पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपा स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदारे कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा हरि ओम तत्सत। So, welcome all the devotees for today's Chaitanya Charitamrita class. Please accept my humble obeisances. We are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, first chapter, 91 sloka onwards. Sloka number 91 onwards. धर्म प्रोजित कैदवोत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सदां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परेरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यते अत्र कृत्यभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तत्क्षणात् धर्म प्रोजित कैदवोत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सदां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परेरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यते अत्र कीर्तिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तत्क्षणात्। हरे कृष्णा। सची माता जी।
कृष्ण प्रभु। धर्म प्रोजित कैतवत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवतं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परेरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तत्क्षणात्।
उमा।
हरे कृष्ण। धर्म प्रोजित कैतवोत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परेरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तत्क्षणात्।
पद्मावती माता जी।
धर्म प्रोजित कैतवो अत्र परमो निर्मत्सरणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृदि अवरुध्यते अत्र कृत्भिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तत्कृष्णात्। हरे कृष्ण।
Translation. The great scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam, compiled by Mahamuni Vyasadeva from 4 original verses, describes the most elevated and kind-hearted devotees and completely rejects the cheating ways of materially motivated religiosity. It propounds the highest principle of eternal religion, which can factually mitigate the threefold miseries of a living being and award the highest benediction of full prosperity and knowledge. Those willing to hear the message of this scripture in a submissive attitude of service can at once capture Supreme Lord in their hearts. Therefore, there is no need for any scripture other than Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is a sloka quoted by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, second verse. All the first 3 verses are Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojana. Okay, so this is the process, the Abhidaya process, by which we can attain the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And here it is very clearly, emphatically mentioned that one should not read any other literature except Srimad Bhagavatam. What is the use of any other literature, any other scripture, when Srimad Bhagavatam is there? He himself, the author who has composed or compiled all other Vedic literatures, he himself, actually, rejects his own compositions, his own scriptures. Apart from Srimad Bhagavatam, it's not necessary, he says. He only has compiled. He is the author of all other Vedic literature, but he himself is rejecting that. Not necessary. This Srimad Bhagavatam, one scripture, is more than enough. Why? It propounds the highest principle of eternal religion. What is the highest principle of eternal religion that we are talking about here?
Krishna Prema, Prabhuji.
Yes, Krishna Prema. Okay. All other literatures, all other scriptures deals with dharma, artha, kama, moksha, which are materially motivated, which are in fact, he puts it as cheating religion. Kaidava. Kaidava means cheating, fruitive. That action which is performed with expectation of fruitive result is called Kaidava religion. So he rejects such religion, which he only has given to us. Nobody else. And he rejects his own scriptures. It's not necessary. Don't waste your time. Read Srimad Bhagavatam and live a life in accordance with the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is eternal religion. That is called Krishna Prema. Aradhya Bhagavan. What is that? Anyone knows? Aradhya Bhagavan. Brajes Tanayas. Tadhama Vrindavanam. And then he further quotes that Prema Pumartho Mahan. Pumartho. Prema Pumar. What is that? Prema. Krishna Prema is the Panchama Purushartha. That is the greatest. That's what here it says. It propounds the highest principles of eternal religion. The greatest Dhamma is Vrindavan Dhamma. The greatest devotees are gopis. The greatest literature is Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. And the greatest eternal religious principle is prema, not dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So Vyasadeva, with this particular sloga, is telling us to reject all other scriptures. Don't waste your time in dharma, artha, kama, moksha, but take up the eternal process of Krishna Prema. That only Srimad Bhagavatam can award you. No other scriptures can award. So that is the eternal religion, which can factually mitigate the threefold miseries. Why we are undergoing threefold miseries? Because we are after dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So as long as we are, trying to achieve this dharma, artha, kama, moksha, we'll be under the clutches of threefold miseries. What is the threefold miseries? What are the threefold mysteries? Yes, Uma, you are mute. You're on mute.
Is it the 3 modes, Prabhuji? 3 modes of
No. Three modes, that is guna. Guna means another meaning is rope also. Guna means quality also. Why it is compared to a rope? Because rope ties us, binds us, right? Rope is used to bind us. So three gunas binds us in this material world. So the threefold mysteries are not gunas. What is it then? Padmamukhi Mataji. What are the threefold mysteries?
Frequently read that point, but now not coming to my point from my Prabhuji.
Okay, Sachi Mataji.
Prabhuji, I was on a call. Would you repeat the question, Prabhuji?
What
Sorry.
are the threefold mysteries?
Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik.
Adhyatmik, Adidevik,
Adi
Adibhavdik, Adidevik, and Adibhavdik. These are the threefold. Okay, just like the trident of Mother Durga or Lord Shiva. Okay, they have three. What is that? What it is
Trishul.
called? Trishul, yeah. Trishul. That is pointing three pointed. That is, one is Adhyatmik, Adibhavdik, and Adidevik. Adhyatmics are miseries inflicted upon us by our own body and mind. Adibhavdik is miseries inflicted upon us by other living entities. Adidevik is natural calamities that is inflicted upon us by demigods of this material world when we go against the laws of nature, like tsunami, earthquake, drought, flood, hurricane, you name it, everything. These are all Adi, given and inflicted upon us by the demigods when we are not obeying the laws of nature. So if you want to mitigate the threefold miseries, what can help us? Only Srimad Bhagavatam. The philosophy is given in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Siddhanta, and how to practice that Siddhanta is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Vedas is okay. It's a stepping stone to come to this platform. But when we are able to directly approach Srimad Bhagavatam, why to go? When we can directly appear the PhD exam, why we have to go first standard, second standard? If you have the qualification to attend the PhD exam directly, if we have blessed with the knowledge by the Supreme Lord's mercy, we don't have to go and sit in KG first and second, third standard like that. So understand that we have completed KG to post-graduation in our previous lives. That's why we are ready to sit for PhD exam. Straight away Bhakti Yoga. Not necessary to practice the lower elementary classes or primary classes or whatever it is. That's why it is said that this will mitigate the threefold miseries of a living being and award the highest benediction of full prosperity and knowledge, by which we can attain Krishna Prema. Those willing to hear the message of this scripture in a submissive attitude of service can at once capture the Supreme Lord in their hearts. So, service is important. Submission is important. Surrender. Surrender. That is surrender. This is very heaviest part of the body. It should come down. Don't keep it as stiff. It should bend at the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Surrender. Okay. So the knowledge will direct us toward that. So that's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tadvidhi pranipatena. Pranipat. Pariprasnena sevaya. Upadekshanti te jnanam. Jnaninas tattvadarshina. Pranipat. You have to put your head down at the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Then only he will give us the required knowledge, because he has seen the absolute truth. He has realized the absolute truth. He is the seer of the absolute truth. So those willing to hear the message of this scripture in a submissive attitude of service, and not only that, that's submission, seva also. Pariprasnena sevaya. Get to do service. Without service, one will not achieve anything. Service should be there. Surrender should be there. Then one can at once capture the Supreme Lord in their hearts. So does it mean that Supreme Lord is not there in the hearts of living beings? Yes, he is there very much. But why Vyasadeva says, then at once capture the Supreme Lord in their hearts. So what does it mean? How do we understand that? The Supreme Lord is already dwelling in our hearts. But why Vyasadeva was saying this? Uma.
Although he is there as Paramatma, we can re-establish our connection through prema with the Lord.
Yeah, he is there, but he's in sleeping condition, dormant. He is not active. He is doing only two jobs. What are that?
Watching us.
Yes. Witnessing and sanctioning. Okay. So that's apart from that, he's not doing anything. So he has to, just like Dhruva Maharaj, Yonta Pravisya Mamavacha Imam Prasuktam Sanjiva Yati Akhila Shakti Dharasudamnam Anyam Cha Hasta Charana Shravana Togadin Pranam Namo Bhagavate Purushayata. So just by the touch of the conch shell, the Lord, he touched with the conch shell his cheeks. All his senses got enlivened. Senses are there. It was in dormant. So just because of the sparsha, touch of the conch shell by Supreme Lord, all his senses, especially the vacha, everything got enlivened, and he could glorify the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, what a boy of 5 years old, how can he glorify? So he imparted the knowledge required to glorify the Supreme Lord. So he got his, especially the speaking ability got enlivened, and he could glorify the Supreme Lord. Similarly, when we become devotees, when we approach him with surrenderance and submission and inquire from him with seva, then he will enliven our senses also. Otherwise, it will be just like we have dormant accounts in the bank. If our account is not used for so many months, it will become dormant. Then we have to reactivate it. We have to give KYC to reactivate. Similarly, our Paramatma is now sleeping. We have to wake him up. How we can wake him up? How he will inspire us from within, motivate us from within, when we glorify him, when we surrender, when we do seva, then he will be active. So that is what it means. Okay, the threefold mysteries of a living being and award the highest benediction of full prosperity knowledge. Those willing to hear the message of this scripture in a submissive attitude of service can at once capture. So we can capture the attention of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then he will become active and he will do the needful. Otherwise, he will be sleeping only. He will do only these two jobs, sanctioning and witnessing. Sanctioning according to our karma. Don't think that everything will sanction. Whatever we desire, he will sanction. No. Whatever our karma allows to be sanctioned, he will sanction. If it is not in their karma, so that means he will leave the decision to the material laws of nature. He is just witnessing. sanctioning through the material laws of nature. So according to our karma, there is a particular law of nature, how it works. So it will happen. He will not interfere. If we surrender and if we do service, he will interfere. Baba, this person needs much more attention. Don't give this hard punishment. Just give a lighter punishment. He interferes. Otherwise, he will not interfere because that is what he deserves. He has to be punished that way. He has to undergo that suffering. So, but when we advance toward the Supreme Lord, when we surrender to Him, when we do seva, when we are inclined, when we have the proclivity to serve Him, then definitely He becomes active and He interferes. He will say, Maya, no, this person doesn't deserve this much punishment. Calm down. Don't give him that much heavy punishment. And he is my person. Just try to handle with care. The Supreme Lord will instruct his own external energy. That's how he's helping the devotees. So advance captures the Supreme Lord in their hearts. Therefore, there is no need for any scripture other than Srimad Bhagavatam. That is whose opinion? Vyasadeva, the author of all Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, Samhitas, Haranyakas, Brahmanas, Vedanta Sutra, everything. He has compiled all these scriptures, but then he's telling, forget about all this. I was not in my good intelligence, was not there. Now that in my spiritual maturity, I have compiled Srimad Bhagavatam. Please read that only. That is enough. No other scripture is required. So this is a very big purport, which he has just taken from the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyway, we'll read it. So this verse appears in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.2. The words Mahamuni Krite indicate that Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled by the great sage of Vyasadeva, Muni, saintly personality, and Mahamuni, great saintly personality. There are so many kings, king of the kings, like that. There are so many munis, Muni of all munis, Mahamuni, Krite, indicate that Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva, who is sometimes known as Narayana Mahamuni, because he is an incarnation of Narayana. He is an Sakti Avesha avatar of Sriman Narayana. That's why he's called Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasadeva. Krishna Dvaipayana. Krishna is because of his complexion, and Dvaipayana because he was born in an island. So therefore, he is not an ordinary man, but is empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He compiled the beautiful Bhagavatam to narrate some of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees. In Srimad Bhagavatam, a distinction between real religion and pretentious religion has been clearly made. So this is what we are following is the pretentious religion, Dharmartha Kama Moksha, which is also called cheating religion. Why? Why it is cheating? Because we are not achieving the real goal of life by following Dharmartha Kama Moksha. So whatever he has given in other scriptures apart from the Srimad Bhagavatam, we will not achieve the ultimate goal of life. That's why it is called pretentious religion. So according to this original and genuine commentation on the Vedanta Sutra, there are numerous pretentious faiths that pass as religion but neglect the real essence of religion. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. That's why Gaudiya Vaishnavas did not write any Bhashya for Vedanta Sutra. But then there was a need, there arose a need to write the Bhashya because there was a dispute between the Gaudiya Vaishnavas and the Ramanandis. So Baldev Vidyabhushan had to write the Govinda Bhashya. And with that bhashya, he defeated the Ramanandi's argument, then re-established the Gaudiya Siddhanta. So the real religion of a living being in its natural inborn quality, whereas pretentious religion is a form of nescience that artificially covers a living entity's pure consciousness under certain unfavorable conditions. Real religion lies dormant when artificial religion dominates from the mental plane. Okay, so real religion is there. We are all Satchidananda, but it's covered. Just the fire is covered with ashes. Fire is there inside, but we cannot see. It is covered by ashes. Okay. The embryo is there, it is covered by womb. We cannot see. Does it mean that there is no baby? Like that. So the real religion is covered under certain unfavorable conditions. Real religion lies dormant when artificial religion dominates from the mental plane. A living being can awaken this dormant religion by hearing with a pure heart. So what is the way to awaken that dormant religion? Simply by Shravana. Shravana. Simply by hearing with a pure heart. So pure heart, we have to use vim, take a sponge, scrub it. Okay, it is full of anarthas. When all the anarthas are gone, just like when we cook in the aluminum, especially steel or aluminum vessels, the bottom part, if there is no water, it'll get stuck to the bottom part and you have to scrub it to clean it. No? Like that, our heart should be scrubbed with hearing Harikatha daily, day in and day out. Then all the anarthas called Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya will be cleansed. With that heart, if we listen, then the dormant religion be awakened. So the path of religion prescribed by Srimad Bhagavatam is different from all forms of imperfect religiosity. Religion can be considered in the following three divisions: the path of fruity work, the path of knowledge and mystic powers, the path of worship and devotion. So it is categorized in three parts. How it is categorized? It's categorized Karma Yoga, Jnana and Dhyana Yoga. Together they have put it. And the third is Bhakti Yoga. Okay. Jnana and Dhyana, they have combined. So there are three divisions: Karma Yoga, Dhyana and Jnana and Bhakti. The path of fruity work, Karma Kanda, even when decorated by religious ceremonies, meant to elevate one's material condition, is cheating process because it can never enable one to gain relief from material existence and achieve the highest goal. The fruity activities can never take us out of this material existence. It can maximum take us to the higher material world. Okay? We can go up to Brahmaloka maximum, not beyond that. We cannot penetrate the material coverings. Within this universe, there are different planetary systems. We can go up and down any number of times in any number of species. It is possible. According to our karma, we are transported to the higher planetary system, again middle, then lower, like that. From one pole to the other pole, we are being tossed. So the karma kanda, the fruity activities, with the fruity activities, one can go maximum to Brahmaloka, not beyond that. So it's a seating process. Why? Again, it is not allowing us to go out of the material world. We are within the material world. We may be enjoying like anything in the higher planetary system, but that's not the ultimate aim of the human being. So it's a cheating process, because it can never enable one to gain relief from material existence and achieve the highest goal. A living entity perpetually struggles hard to rid himself on the pangs of material existence But the path of fruitive work leads him to either temporary happiness or temporary distress in material existence. So the living entity, by following the fruitive activities, karma yoga, they have to, they cannot get rid of pangs of material existence. It is temporary. Some temporary solace it will give, or whether it is distress or happiness, it's all temporary. It's not eternal. So by pious fruitive work, one is, there are two types of pious activities. Can anyone explain? Two types of pious activities.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Material pious activities and spiritual pious activities.
Yes, exactly. Material pious activity and spiritual. So material pious activities will allow us to enjoy more and more. Spiritual pious activities will take us out of the material existence. It doesn't give any reaction. Spiritual pious activities means there's no reaction to that activity. Material pious activity, you will get material sugurdhi. Other one is spiritual sugurdhi. So he cannot in that way become free from the pangs of birth, death, old age, and disease. A materially happy person is therefore in need of eternal relief that mundane religiosity in terms of fruitive work can never award. The paths of the culture of knowledge, jnana marga, and of mystic powers, yoga marga, are equally hazardous, for one does not know where one will go by following these uncertain methods. So, karma is so intricate. With the jnana marga, karma marga, and yoga marga, we don't know what is our destination. So, I'll tell you a small story. Okay. There was a king who wanted to feed all the brahmanas. So he called brahmanas of his kingdom, thousands and thousands of brahmanas, and he wanted to feed prasadam. Okay. So he arranged a big, what do you call, place to cook for the brahmanas, so many cooks. So they all arranged, they brought grains, they brought vegetables and all other ingredients to cook for the brahmanas. So they, at last everything was over. So unfortunately, what had happened, when they were cooking, they were, cooking in an open place those days. So there was a eagle who was carrying a dead snake. So that eagle was flying in the space, in the sky, and few drops of poison from the mouth of that snake fell in the cooking vessel. Okay. The cooks didn't notice it. They cooked it nicely. Then they served this as prasadam to all the brahmanas, thousands of brahmanas. So because of the poison, all the brahmanas died. Now the news reached to Yamaraj. Who is the responsible for this activity? Whom should be accounted? Who should be accounted for this papa? Is it the king? Because he hosted it. He fed the brahmanas, but he hosted and fed the brahmanas with a good intention. He did not know that this poison fell in the. Is it the mistake of the cooks? No, cooks also didn't know. Is it the eagle? No, eagle, that is a prey. Is it the snake? No, it's not snake also. Snake has its poison. He did not do anything. It was already dead also. So whose account should come? What do you think? Who should be blamed for this?
Karma, Prabhuji, individual's karma, but thousands of brahmanas.
Yeah, no, but now this, so many people died, so many brahmanas died. So who is the cause for their death? Whom should be? The eagle, the snake, the king, the cooks, or the people who distributed?
Prabhuji, I know the story, so I will not tell.
Anyway, the Yamaraj kept this file in pending. He was also, not knowing who has to be accounted? I mean, who this sin should go to whose account? He was also perplexed. Said, keep it pending. That days pass by, months pass by, years pass by. Next year, again the king called all the brahmanas for feeding prasadam. So the brahmanas, some few brahmanas were passing by and asked one lady who was sitting there, now can you please tell me the king's palace where he is distributing the prasadam for brahmanas? We want to go there. Then that lady said, oh, that king last year who fed poisonous prasadam and all the brahmanas died. Oh, that king. Immediately, Yamaraj got this information. Put that sin in her account because she is taking pleasure of this incident. She's getting pleasure. So actually, the sinful reaction should go to that lady's account. So we don't know how this karma, what you call, takes effect. How it works is very intricate. So similarly, here it is said that the yoga, the karma, the yoga, the jnana, whatever you do, how it is getting affected in our present life, in our future life, we cannot say black and white. Oh, because of this particular activity, and I am suffering. Because of this activity, I am enjoying. There is individual karma, there are mass karmas. So we don't know. We cannot exactly offset this karma, offset the reaction. No. So an empiric philosopher in search of spiritual knowledge may endeavor most laboriously for many, many births in mental speculation. But unless and until he reaches the stage of purest quality of goodness, in other words, until he transcends the plane of mental speculation, it is not possible for him to know that everything emanates from the personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. His attachment to the impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord makes him unfit to rise to that transcendent stage of Vasudeva understanding, and therefore, because of his unclean state of mind, he glides down again into material existence. Even after having ascended to the highest stage of liberation, this fall down takes place due to his want of locus standi in the service of Supreme Lord. So even if one gets liberation from this material world, because at some point of time, he will have some desire to do service. That time he will fall down. So whether it is karma, jnana, dhyana, there is a possibility of falling down. It's not the highest. No, we cannot achieve the highest goal of life by doing these three processes. As far as the mystic powers of the yogis are concerned, there are also material entanglements on the path of spiritual realization. One German scholar who became a devotee of God in India said that material science had already made laudable progress in duplicating the mystic powers of the yogis. He therefore came to India not to learn the method of the yogis' mystic powers, but to learn the path of trance and loving service to the Supreme Lord. As mentioned in the great scripture Srimad Bhagavatam, mystic powers can make a yogi materially powerful and thus give temporary relief from the miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease, as other material sciences can also do. But such material powers can never be a permanent source of release from these miseries. Therefore, according to the Bhagavata school, this path of religiosity is also a method of cheating its followers. That's why it is said Kaidava Dharma. In the Bhagavad Gita, it's clearly defined that the most elevated and powerful mystic yogi is one who can constantly think of the Supreme Lord within his heart and engage in the loving devotional service of the Lord. So he is the greatest yogi, one who can constantly think the Supreme Lord in his heart and engage himself in the loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the greatest yogi. The path of worship of the innumerable devas or administrative demigods is still more hazardous and uncertain than the above mentioned process of karma kanda and jnana kanda. So that is panchopasana, innumerable devas upasana. These are all more problematic, hazardous. then Karmakanda and Jnanakanda. The system of worshipping many gods such as Durga, Shiva, Ganesha, Surya, and the impersonal Vishnu form. This is called Panchopasana. Is accepted by person who have been blinded by the intent desire for sense gratification. When properly executed in terms of the rites mentioned in the Shastras, which are now very difficult to perform in this age of want and scarcity, such worship can certainly fulfill one's desires for sense gratification, but the success obtained by such methods is certainly transient, and it is suitable only for a less intelligent. Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, those who are worshipping other demigods are less intelligent. They are doing avidipurvakam in a wrong way. They are worshipping those gods not in the right way, but in wrong way. So they are less intelligent people. That is the verdict of Bhagavad Gita. Yes, same sloka. No sane man should be satisfied by such temporary benefits. None of the above mentioned three religious paths can deliver a person from the threefold miseries of material existence, namely, miseries caused by the body and mind, miseries caused by the other living entities, and miseries caused by the demigods. The process of religion described in Srimad Bhagavatam, however, is able to give its followers permanent relief from the threefold miseries. Just like when you get headache, we take Panadol or paracetamol without consulting a physician. Unless until the physician, diagnose, checks us and diagnose what exactly is the root cause, then treat the patient from the root cause. No, it will not go permanently. It will keep coming. So here, we have to get a permanent relief from the threefold miseries. So we have to take up the Krishna conscious activities and devotional service, not karma yoga, dhyana, and jnana. Okay, only bhakti yoga. The Bhagavatam describes the highest religious form, reinstatement of the living entity in its original position of transcendent loving service to the Supreme Lord, which is free from the infections of desires for sense gratification, fruitive work, and the culture of knowledge, within the aim of merging into the Absolute to become one with the Supreme Lord. Any process of religiosity based on sense gratification, gross or subtle, must be considered a pretentious religion because it is unable to give perpetual protection of to its followers. The word projitaha is significant. Pra means complete and ujita indicates rejection, complete rejection. Religiosity in the shape of fruitive work is directly method of gross sense gratification, whereas the process of culturing spiritual knowledge with a view to becoming one with the Absolute is a method of subtle sense gratification. All such pretentious religiosity based on gross or subtle sense gratification is completely rejected in the process of Bhagavata Dharma or the transcendental religion, that is the eternal function of the living being. I'm just reading through because we already read it in Bhagavatam. So Bhagavata Dharma or the religious principle described in Srimad Bhagavatam, of which the Bhagavad Gita is a preliminary study, is meant for liberated persons of the highest order who attribute very little value to the sense gratification of pretentious religiosity. The first and foremost concern of fruitive workers, elevationists, empiric philosophers, and salvationists is to raise their material position, but devotees of Godhead have no such selfish desires. They serve the Supreme Lord only for his satisfaction. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. Sri Arjuna, wanting to satisfy his senses by becoming a so-called non-violent and pious man, and first decided not to fight. So he was having an opinion of not fighting, thinking that is religiosity. But actually it was his sense gratification. But when he was fully situated in the principles of Bhagavad Dharma, culminating in complete surrender unto the will of the Supreme Lord, he changed his decision and agreed to fight for the satisfaction of the Lord. He then said, Nashto moho smritit labdha tat prasadam mayachuda sidosmi gada sandeha karishye vachanam tava. No, karishye vachanam tava. I will do whatever you say. My dear Krishna, O infallible one, oh, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and I am prepared to act according to your instruction. It is the constitutional position of living entity to be situated in its pure consciousness. Any so-called religious process that interferes with this unadulterated spiritual position of the living being must therefore be considered a pretentious process of religiosity. The real form of religion is spontaneous loving service to Godhead. This relationship of the living being with the absolute personality of Godhead in service is eternal. The personality of Godhead is described as Vastu, this object of love, Vastu Shivadam, or the substance. And the living entities are described as Vastavas, or the innumerable samples of substance in relative existence. The relationship of this substantive portions of the supreme absolute, supreme substance can never be annihilated, for it is an eternal quality inherent in the living being. So we have an inherent eternal quality. What is that? The relationship between the jivas and the supreme. By contact with material nature, the living entities exhibit varied symptoms of the disease of material consciousness. To cure this material disease is the supreme object of human life. The process that treats this disease is called Bhagavata Dharma or Sanatana Dharma. Real religion. This is described in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, anyone who, because of his background of pious activities in previous lives, is anxious to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, immediately realizes the presence of the Supreme Lord within his heart and fulfills the mission of his life. So, from our previous lives, we have carry forward. We have finished our karma marga or karma yoga, dhyana marga, jnana marga. That is why we are able to take up devotional service directly. Okay, so we have finished it. We are now taking up devotional service directly because we know that this life is very short duration. We don't have thousands of years like in the previous lives, and those who have not finished all this different process of yogas in the previous lives will still struggle doing karma yoga. They will say work is worship. They will tell all those siddhantas. Even if you say to take up devotional activity, they will not be able to do. They will end up doing what you call philanthropical activities, thinking that is ultimately pleasing God. Yes, it pleases God, but beyond that is savai pumsa paro dharmo edo bhakti radokshaje ahai tugi apratayeda ye atma suprasidati. One who is satisfied, only one who serves the Supreme Lord uninterrupted without any motivation. That is what one has to take up devotional process. Other processes are a gradual progression towards Bhakti Yoga, towards this Savai Pumsa Parodharma. So that is not wrong, but that is only helping us to come to Bhakti Yoga. So if we can take up Bhakti Yoga directly, why not take it up? Why we have to go through struggling all that? So if there is any way to reach that 100th floor within no time, why not take that? Why we have to struggle climbing the staircase, taking hours together, or taking an escalator? It's better take an elevator. You are there within moments. So Bhakti Yoga is an elevator, whereas Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga is like staircase and escalator. So that's Vyasadeva is instructing us to forget about what he has written in other scriptures like Vedas and Upanishads and Puranas. Just focus on Srimad Bhagavatam. That is more than enough, not necessary to waste our time going through all other. Although it is Vyasadeva only who has given all those things, but he only rejects those, telling that it is cheating religion, dharmartha, kama, moksha. So let us all focus on Bhakti Yoga, okay, which is the ultimate goal of life, which will, allow us or which will give us facility to attain the ultimate goal of life, Krishna Prema or Krishna Bhakti. Hare Krishna. So I will stop here. Vancha kalpada rubhyasya kripa sindhubhyavacha patidanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Ananta Kodi Vaishnavi ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Nitai Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.